begins drawing a strange picture on paper. The drawing suddenly changes right before Bluey's eyes. Aha! The drawing begins guiding Bluey. The drawing transforms differently in each location. Bingo and Bluey decipher the mysterious drawing. The drawing leads Bluey to the backyard. Whoa! The treasure is finally found. The changing drawing led Bluey to a treasure trove of creativity. Bluey discovered strange wet footprints on the floor. The footprints led Bluey further. The footprints stretched along the hallway. But the footprints continued on and on. Not all the footprints disappeared. The footprints circled and then turned in another direction. Huh? Bluey followed the tracks while cleaning. Finally, the footprints led to the backyard. The mystery was solved. Following the small footprints, Bluey brought back a dry and happy home. The secret seed, Mom, Bluey, and Bingo stroll together. The kids run ahead while Mom walks behind, smiling. Bingo suddenly stops and looks down. She picks up a tiny seed from the ground. Bluey leans in, curious. Mom gestures for them to keep walking. Bingo looks at the seed, then quietly closes her paw around it. Back at home. Mom turns away to get some water. Bingo looks left, right, sneaks to a flower pot, garden corner, digs a small hole, hides the seed, quickly covers it with soil. Bluey stands nearby, acting like a serious lookout. One day, Mom tidies the garden. Bingo rushes over. Too late. Mom bends down and sees a small flower blooming. Her eyes widen in surprise. Bingo stands behind her, smiling shyly. Mom turns around and gently pats Bingo's head. Bluey claps happily. The three sit together, watching the flower sway in the breeze.
The experiment slide. Bluey and Bingo are setting up a small laboratory. They use a chair and a plank to create a simple, steep slide. Bluey retrieves her first test subject, a round rubber ball. She places it at the top of the plank and lets it go. The ball flies quickly down the ramp and bounces across the floor. Bingo giggles and tries to catch it, amused by the speed. Bluey places the block on the ramp and releases it. The block slides slowly, coming to a gentle stop at the bottom with a quiet thud. The two girls look at each other. Bluey gives a serious nod, as if she understands the lesson about friction. Bingo smiles, satisfied with the results of their experiment.
One gentle morning, Bluey made a new friend. Caring for plants requires gentleness and patience. Not too much and not too little. Plants also need sunlight to grow. Huh? Small things help plants grow healthier. When we care for them, we learn to show concern. Plants don't grow instantly, but day by day. Caring for a seedling is also caring for joy. Bluey gets lost in the giant sunflower forest. A messy garage and a cleanup day begins. With children, everything can become a game. Organizing isn't always easy. A little trick to make things clearer.
Okay.
Cleaning also requires attention to safety. Doing it the right way isn't as important as doing it quickly. Working together makes things get done faster. When the whole family pitches in, any task can become fun. A leisurely afternoon begins with simple sheets of paper.
Oh.
Whoa!
Not every airplane flies beautifully from the start. Everyone has their own way of being creative. A small race is about to begin. When you spread your wings together, the results are always full of surprises. Losing one round doesn't mean giving up. When you know how to adjust, things will improve. A race isn't just about winning.
Oh.
When playing with family, the fun is more important than the result. Every time you try, you learn something new. One peaceful afternoon, Bluey discovered an interesting empty space. Just a few chalks are enough to begin. Every stroke carries imagination. No need to draw beautifully, just draw together. The picture on the ground gradually emerges. The result isn't on paper, but right before our eyes. Each person leaves their own mark. Joy sometimes begins in an empty space.
Musical statues. Dad Bandit is about to start the music. Bluey and Bingo are ready for a high-stakes game of musical statues. The music starts. The sisters dance wildly, soaking up every bit of the upbeat rhythm. Music stops! Bluey freezes instantly on one leg, trying her best not to let her tail wag. Bingo wobbles a little, but manages to stay still. Dad walks around to check if any statue moves. The music kicks in again, faster and funnier. The whole family dances, the room filled with silent laughter.
The tree grows bigger every day, with the love of the whole family. There are little visitors who have come to the garden. Bluey is a little worried about his plants. It doesn't always need to be so forceful. Just help them find some depth in another spot. Protecting the plants is also part of caring for them. peaceful retreat is back. Everyone has their place. Just know how to care for them properly.
Shooting star. The night has fallen. Bluey and Bandit settle down for a quiet evening on the veranda after a long day of play. Bluey gazes up at the twinkling stars, and suddenly she points an excited finger towards the sky. A brilliant, swift streak of light, a shooting star, flies across the dark night sky. Both dad and daughter watch it pass. Bluey turns to look at her dad, her eyes wide with surprise and a little bit of wonder. Bandit gently pulls Bluey into a warm hug. Bluey closes her eyes, keeping her silent wish completely private. She opens them, giving a look of pure contentment. Bandit tightens his hug, savoring the special moment.
One fine day, the family decided to wash their beloved car. When you're too excited, things can easily become excessive. Doing things the right way makes the job easier. Saving money is part of caring for the environment. Safety is always paramount. It's okay to make a small mistake, as long as you know how to correct it. Being tidy helps things finish faster. When working together, the joy always outweighs the fatigue. The garden had so many plants that Bluey easily got confused while tending them. Bluey decided to draw a map of the garden. The map was checked right in the garden. Huh? Bingo and Bluey learned how to read the garden map. Huh? The map helped Bluey tend to each plant more accurately. The whole family used the map to tend the garden. The garden was properly cared for. Thanks to the garden map, tending the plants became easier and more fun. Forgot the kid. Morning at home. Mom grabs her keys and bag, checks the clock, running late. She gestures to the kid. School time. Mom walks out the door, carrying the child's backpack. Inside, the kid is still putting on shoes. The door closes. The kid looks up, frozen in place. The kid walks to the window and watches Mom's car drive away. He scratches his head, then shrugs and sits on the couch, calmly playing with a toy. Outside the school, Mom parks the car and turns to the back seat. Empty. Mom freezes. Mom looks at the backpack, looks at the empty seat, looks at her phone. Eyes widen. Panic. She quickly turns the car around. Mom rushes inside and swings the door open. The kid is on the couch, happily eating a snack/playing. They stare at each other for a second. Mom exhales in relief and hugs the kid tightly. The kid pats Mom's back like, "It's okay." Mom carries the kid outside, then double-checks the back seat before closing the door. Bluey and Bingo just finished planting a little tree. But the weather started to change. A sudden gust of wind blew the little tree over. We all had to act quickly. Bluey cleverly came up with a way to save the tree. Everyone had a task. The little tree was saved. Taking care of a tree is like taking care of each other. A peaceful morning began when Chili left the house, leaving Bandit to look after the two children. But behind those innocent eyes lay a mischievous plan. Bandit carefully gave instructions. But as soon as he turned away for a moment, everything changed. In the kitchen, one problem after another arose. Bandit was both worried and confused, trying to keep everything under control. But it seemed this task was harder than he thought.
Huh?
Before Bandit could breathe a sigh of relief, a new problem appeared in an unexpected place. From outside, the whole house became more chaotic than ever before. When Chili returned, everything was over. Despite his exhaustion, Bandit completed his task. And sometimes just a smile is enough to dispel all the chaos. One leisurely afternoon, Chili decided to organize a special activity. But for Bluey, playing sports always has to be different. A mini racetrack created right inside the house. The rules are simple, but the outcome is unpredictable. Winning isn't always guaranteed. But patience always brings joy. Sports don't need to be complicated. Just play together. A day of light exercise, but full of laughter. One peaceful afternoon, the yard suddenly becomes an imaginary world. from simple drawings. An adventure begins. The path grows longer and longer, and the rules of the game gradually take shape. When adults appear, the challenge becomes more interesting. The rules are simple, but not easy at all. The joy comes from the near falls. When the whole family joins in, the path has no end. The game ends, but the traces remain. A gentle breeze blows through. The game concludes. Counting the stairs. Bluey and Bingo stand ready for a simple challenge, climbing the staircase. Bluey starts her climb, and Bandit begins to clap rhythmically, each clap matching a step. Bingo is slightly confused at first, but she quickly finds the rhythm, trying to sync her tiny steps with the claps. The two girls are halfway up. Bandit claps louder and clearer, helping them maintain the count. Bluey glances back to check her dad's rhythm. Bingo misses a step and pauses. She concentrates hard, then steps forward, determined to catch the rhythm of her dad's counting. Finally, Bluey steps onto the last stair, and Bingo follows closely behind. Trick backfires. Mom is cleaning the floor, fully focused. Bluey and Bingo peek from behind the couch, exchanging mischievous grins. Bluey draws a simple trap plan on a piece of paper. Bingo nods excitedly and gives a silent thumbs up. They shake hands in agreement. Fast, funny montage. A string is tied to a chair. A pillow is placed up high. A small paper X is stuck on a slippery spot. The girls step back, admiring their work. Mom walks closer. The girls hold their breath, covering their mouths. Mom pauses, looks around suspiciously. Mom pretends not to notice and calmly walks around the trap. Suddenly, she gently pulls the string. The pillow drops right onto Bluey and Bingo. The girls tumble to the floor, surprised but unharmed. Mom stands with hands on her hips, smiling victoriously. Bluey and Bingo look at each other, embarrassed, then hide their faces. Mom pulls both girls into a warm hug. They all laugh together. Dad peeks in, accidentally steps on the leftover trap and slips slightly. Everyone bursts into laughter. A rainy day changes all plans. But rain also brings interesting sounds. Bluey and Bingo try to imitate the rhythm of falling rain. Everything around us can become a musical instrument. When listening, everyone finds their own rhythm. No need for perfection, just together. Peaceful moments are always special. Even a rainy day has its own joy. Under their familiar tree, Bluey and Bingo begin a new game with falling leaves. Each leaf has its own way of traveling as the wind blows. Just a slight difference, and the outcome changes completely. don't always stay still as we wish. When we stop trying to control them, the game becomes more fun. Outdoors, nature and imagination are all you need for a perfect play session. After many days of use, the family car also needs some maintenance. Bluey and Bingo wanted to help Bandit with this. Taking care of things is a way of showing concern. Bandit showed us how to check the important parts. Working together made everything easier. The car looks completely different now. Taking care of things is a way of showing concern.
Whoa!
A small thing, but it brings joy to the whole family. Trick backfires. Mom is cleaning the floor, fully focused. Bluey and Bingo peek from behind the couch, exchanging mischievous grins. Bluey draws a simple trap plan on a piece of paper. Bingo nods excitedly and gives a silent thumbs up. They shake hands in agreement. Fast, funny montage. A string is tied to a chair. A pillow is placed up high. A small paper X is stuck on a slippery spot. The girls step back, admiring their work. Mom walks closer. The girls hold their breath, covering their mouths. Mom pauses, looks around suspiciously. Mom pretends not to notice and calmly walks around the trap. Suddenly, she gently pulls the string. The pillow drops right onto Bluey and Bingo. The girls tumble to the floor, surprised but unharmed. Mom stands with hands on her hips, smiling victoriously. Bluey and Bingo look at each other, embarrassed, then hide their faces. Mom pulls both girls into a warm hug. They all laugh together. Dad peeks in, accidentally steps on the leftover trap and slips slightly. Everyone bursts into laughter. Night camping. Late afternoon, still bright daylight. The family loads camping gear into the car. Tent, bags, flashlight. The kids bounce excitedly. Dad gives a confident thumbs up.
Let's go!
Mom smiles. Dad and Mom set up the tent. The kids help hold poles and pegs. The tent is finally finished. The sky turns dark. The forest becomes quiet. Leaves rustle in the wind. The kids press close to Mom and Dad. Dad swallows nervously. Mom looks around, uneasy. A small noise from the bushes. Everyone freezes. Dad switches on the flashlight. Its beam shakes. Just a bug. No danger. But nobody relaxes. The family looks at each other. Mom gently shakes her head. Dad nods very quickly. The kids immediately run back toward the car. The tent stands alone behind them. A seemingly ordinary beach outing.
Wow!
But Bluey and Bingo discovered a mystery.
Whoa!
A treasure map appeared right before their eyes. The search began. But the beach wasn't still. The treasure seemed to be playing a trick on the whole family.
Whoa!
The treasure was cleverly hidden. treasure of all is the joy of family. Snowman.